put her eye drop in. You know, she's not thrilled about that. Hi. Good morning, Gray. Good morning, baby girl. Here's chicken, Gray. Yeah, I brought in what you care about. I did. Good girl. Good girl. We don't like it when it's raining at 6:15 in the morning.
You don't like 6:15 in the morning.
But for you guys, I'll do it because I love you. There's your food, buddy. You followed me over to the cat hotel and needlessly got yourself wet. And Morris and Marty are over there, and when Dawn opened the door, you're not in trouble, but I am going to put you back outside because I'm not going to be home to supervise you. I don't blame you one iota though, but you got to go back with Morris and Marty for now. There goes Dawn to get the newspaper. Panther wasn't talking up the storm. Me coming out this morning. It's 42 out there. So the wet and the cold is, it's not a nice day in the neighborhood, and it's coming down enough to care right now. Dawn says it's supposed to rain all day. So, I don't know. I'll evaluate the radar when I get home, but it's not looking good. If it's coming down this heavy, it's too heavy to walk at 42 degrees. Oh boy. Tomorrow it's supposed to be sunny. But then, of course, we're going down into the 20s Friday night, so, you know, we get to trade rain for cold. I'm not sure it's a good trade-off. Anyway, you stay nice and dry. Panther's got it made up here on the front porch. Except in the most intense storms, it stays pretty dry up here. Tux meowed at us as we came out. I think he's under the platform using the bathroom because he doesn't want to go out in the rain. Funny cat. Good morning, Ruby. Well, it's just as wet and yucky as I thought it would be out here this morning. Our ETA 7:25, so we're doing good and traffic's not too bad, but I have this pesky front camera blocked or blinded intermittent message this morning, more solid than less. And I suspect I just have condensation in the camera housing, and even though the window's nice and clear, the camera housing's not. So I can't engage autopilot. I've seen it go away and let me engage it if I wanted to for a few seconds here or there. So it's not 100% solid error, and I do feel in this case it's a valid message, but it's annoying. And of course, considering what I went through last summer, it's not a message I ever want to see in my car. And I am missing autopilot. I'm at a point where I'm not driving a car without autopilot. There's just no way. I like it that much. I rely on it. I find it useful. I want to use it. So anyway, just sharing this morning. Johnny got lucky and the rain has stopped here at the school for the moment, so he didn't have to get wet walking to class. That was quite convenient. I'm glad for him. And Ruby, a few minutes ago, seems to have stopped complaining about the front camera being blocked. I'm sure it's a combination of no rain on the windshield, no windshield wipers, and the glass with the defroster and the, you know, car stuff, the temperature, everything getting leveled out. When I've had condensation issues a few times before, they're not frequent, but it does happen. It's usually 30 minutes or better to get it to level out and clear itself. Because you can't, you know, the front defrost, you know, directly blow air up there because that's a sealed, semi-sealed housing, right? And I think they're supposed to be some stuff going on up there where it handles itself, either a little heater or the heat from the electronics or a little fan or something going on up there. I know newer models probably handle it a little better than Ruby does. I mean, anyway, if I had autopilot on the way home, I would be grateful, because I'm using it on 401 up and down. I'd say a solid 12 to 15 miles in each direction, and then at a few other times. Mostly just not downtown Raleigh. I use it in downtown Fuquay though. And yeah, I can get out of the car this morning. Oh yeah, I would say that it still could have a little bit of condensation up there, but it's probably certainly improved. So at least it was valid what it was saying versus some sort of a unexpected error. I got out for just a minute to stretch and look at the camera housing, and it's only 37 out there. Couple of differences. I mean, imagine the mess it would be this morning if we were just a few degrees colder, which is why about 10 days ago they thought, well, there's a chance for a snowflake today. Well, we're not getting snowflakes here, which is mostly a good thing. It just creates problems. You know, it's either got to be, the problems is it's either got to be clear cut, no school, everybody stay off the roads, because most of us don't know what we're doing driving in it, don't have to go anywhere today, snow day, or nothing going on. It's those borderline days where they kind of think about it. Usually they err on the side of safety, but I don't like being put in a decision in the morning about a go, no go, despite what everybody else is doing. My thing is, if Don goes out to get the newspaper and the cement part of the driveway is in good normal shape, then all is good for me out on the road, because that thing ices up really quick. It's a very telling as to road conditions. Anyway, I suppose I should look at the radar in a minute and think about the morning walk, although at 37 degrees. I'm just not in any rush to get out there today, but I need my walk. I need my walk. So Michelle says we're meeting this morning, so hopefully that'll work out. I mean, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. And if it doesn't, it won't be because she doesn't want to come. I think she's ready for a little break with her bestie. So another thing I read yesterday that was sort of on my mind this morning, because of the cameras temporarily making autopilot unavailable, was that there was also an article, I think was on TeslaModelXJourney, about the autonomous Waymo Cruise vehicles in Las Vegas area, you know, having a malfunction of some sort in the last year and blocking a few intersections and or slowing down a few first responders. And, you know, we're evaluating what we should do about these vehicles. Well, I mean, that's going to happen a few times here as we move forward, right? There's going to be scenarios that we've worked through what to do when they happen, and then a few that we being the developers didn't see and now need to go address, that we know it's a problem. So, you know, if the weather is horrible, what are the cars supposed to do? If, you know, obviously there's a malfunction in the middle of the intersection, is it a typical car malfunction, which could happen to any car, or is it specifically related to the autonomous stuff? You know, what do we do to handle this? I don't think it's a let's overreact because one fire truck couldn't get to a fire as quick as they wanted to, had to back up and go around a vehicle or something. Let's sit down as an industry with first responders and city emergency management people and whoever else, you know's ego says they need to participate, and figure out what do we want to happen, which is you know, probably the cars glide themselves off to the side of the road instead of blocking the middle of the intersection. But let's brainstorm it and figure it out and then implement it. Let's not, my opinion, overreact and pull them off the road. I mean, we need to work through this. It's not going to be 100% smooth. We're people. We're not going to be able to foresee every possible scenario, right? So yeah, let's just not overreact about it, and let's not hype it up like it was the worst thing ever. You know, hopefully no lives were lost because the fire truck was late. Now, I'm sympathetic to the firemen wanting to get there, wanting to help people being blocked. I am sympathetic. I'm just saying let's not overreact about it. So Don and I were also watching a video on YouTube last night, not someone we've watched before, and I don't remember the name of the channel, but they were showing how, I guess this one guy consults on programming for other people doing programming, and he was showing how ChatGPT could be used to help people program. Basically, you could drop a piece of code in there and it could tell you what it thought you could have done better. It could help you figure out your syntax error, although I would say most editors already do a really good job of this, depending on what editor you used. It could, if you tell it you got to code up something, it could help you come up with a list of tasks to do that coding. I mean, it was, you have to know what to ask it. But it seemed like, wow, Don wowed a couple of times. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't know it did programming stuff on top of paper stuff. I have never invoked it, so I probably need to go just figure that out so I'm clued in. But it was pretty neat. You might want to, you know, search YouTube for ChatGPT and programming or coding, and I'm sure there aren't, you know, you'd hit some useful videos out there and explore what it can do, especially if you work in a programming field. Yeah, it was just neat. Thank goodness. Autopilot to the rescue. Definitely makes the ride better. Well, it had gotten pretty dry, and I was considering bundling up for the walk, but now there's going to be a period of rain that I'm going to guess is going to go on for the next hour, and I really don't want to walk in 37 end rain, but I'll see how I feel when I get out of the car. Frustrated is how I feel. I want to see sunshine, and I want it to be at least 45 out. Yeah, it's just a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Well, if it's going to be raining this much, we're not walking. It's just too cold. And that is one big buck off to the side of the driveway. Hi, buddy. Probably not this afternoon, but we'll at least consider it. But it's raining hard enough now.
And it's cold out there.
And it's cold, so we're gonna call it. I don't want to get yeah. So you notice Don's in here at his computer in the morning. I guess he really is mostly done with his contracts now.
Yeah, we're it's just I'm kind of
an hour here or there now.
Yeah, they have question or something. They they don't. So yes, and then we're trying to. Go live on one of the systems, but not production. They won't be ready to go live on that for a year.
So it's cranked down enough that Don is getting to relax in the morning with his coffee and look at Twitter and the newspaper and yeah, so that's good.
Yep.
So I'm double fisting it with water and coffee. I'm waiting on parts. I really need to replace that wedge because it showed. So what I thought I would do is one of the things that needs to be built is the roof and of the front section, and that looks like parts I all have, so I'm gonna work on that. Plus it's short. It's only 10 steps, and I should be able to knock that out in the hour and 15 minutes I have before I leave to meet Michelle. So Rob Maurer seems like he's been posting a little later each day, by an hour to 2 hours. He's moved, and I don't know if he's in a different time zone or what that means, but it's causing me to miss Rob's a lot more, and Dawn to sometimes watch Rob if I've fallen asleep in the evening. But anyway, we're watching yesterday's, which came out pretty late, our time. And somehow we were talking about the interest rate and how that does or doesn't affect the Tesla stock. And then we were talking about the patent. Don said he hadn't seen anything else about the radar patent showing up, but Rob didn't mention that. And then what led us on to the conversation we were having?
He was talking about the recognizing the revenue from full self-driving. That revenue is part of his talking today about Tesla recognizing that.
Right. And we got into a conversation about full self-driving and capabilities and this, that, and the other. And I said, Don said, I'm concerned about Ruby, even if he says she's safe on the road at her current hard. Right.
Elon says version 3 cars aren't going to be upgradable to version 4, and I actually understand.
Cost too much and not feasible. Technically a challenge.
But here's my thing. I believe that Ruby will be perfect. Oh, Jules too. This applies to Jules because that's version 3.
They're technically the same.
That's right.
Yeah.
They'll be perfectly fine. I'll get behind the wheel on the interstate and I can fall asleep, text. I'll be perfectly happy with it. But I myself personally am not willing to take the financial risk to send Ruby or Jules down to downtown Raleigh to pick up Johnny today. If Elon says full self-driving cars could drive anywhere autonomously, full self-driving, so I get to send one of the cars to go pick up Johnny today, there's no way I'm going to do that because she's going to get totaled. The financial risk of that happening, in other words, I'm totally in agreement. You can have the March of Nines where you can statistically prove Tesla full self-driving cars, the number of people killed is greatly reduced. Maybe even the number of people injured is greatly reduced. But what I'm saying is I don't believe that the cost of the accidents is going to go down. I believe the cost of the accidents are going to go up because there's going to be more fender benders. And that works great when you have a 1984 Toyota Camry. It's no big deal. But I've got an investment now in Ruby that's looking really good financially to me because we got full self-driving.
And free
supercharging and all these things. Do you think I'm going to risk that financial calamity of sending her to downtown Raleigh to pick up Johnny? No way.
I'm lucky Dawn trusts me to go downtown with her. No,
because you scratched a Tesla and they totaled it. And and so Elon, for me to believe him and let the car do whatever, this gets back to who's going to be responsible when the car goes out by itself and runs and gets involved in a fender bender. And my point is this: he's going to have insurance that basically I get a new Model X, brand new, whatever full self-driving costs. If it's $150,000 a pop, no problem. You're going to give me full self-driving. I want an exact replacement for Ruby. And otherwise I'm not going to send either one of my Teslas downtown Raleigh to pick up anyway. So I'm going to say he's not achieving full self-driving. Gets me back to, there's no way that this thing's going to work. It can't make left turns. It cannot make an unprotected left turn. It's going to go out there and make an unprotected left turn, and a guy in an F-150 pickup is going to rear end it.
Yeah, I can basically hardly stay out of their way now, and I'm monitoring her.
Nobody will be injured. No injuries whatsoever. But there goes $125,000 because he's going to want $40,000, $50,000 for full self-driving again. There goes that money right down the toilet.
Yeah. Well, my points in the background were, number one, as a stockholder, the expense of trying to upgrade these version 3 cars to version 4 scares me.
Yeah.
I've said that before. And there's another point I was going to make, and now it slipped away again.
Well, the whole thing is you're going to recognize revenue. And I don't think version 3 is, and he can recognize revenue. I've got no problem. That's an all accounting trick, and he's not trying to defraud anybody. But I'm just saying, version 3 cars, I don't see how without cameras, maybe this version 4 radar, which is how we got into the whole this. I don't know what he's going to have to do to make version 3 cars good enough to exist for the risk reward ratio to be anywhere
worth
it. Like I said, I think on the interstate it'll be great, but then I don't consider that full self-driving. He keeps saying that you're going to be able to send your car out and pick up ride share.
Robotaxi itself. Yeah, not only are you going to trust it to go someplace on its own, but you're going to entrust it with passengers.
Yeah, well,
that you don't even know that might really want to sue you if something goes wrong.
You send your car out, and the risk reward on that, I figured it'll last for about 2 weeks before it's totaled.
Yeah, well, and there's what the passengers do to the interior of your car. There's all these, Toro, you hear these things too.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify, and I think this is accurate, and you can nod your head. We're not saying we can't achieve FSD with version 4 or version 5 hardware at some point down the road. That we'll figure it out. Was just version 3 at the current.
Version 3 replacing a version 3 car.
Yeah.
Free lifetime supercharging. Paid $9,000 for full self-driving, because when he says it's full self-driving, it's not going to be $15,000. It's going to be $25,000. It's going to be $30,000. It's going to be, you're going to say, what's $200 a month? Well, whatever that fee is, you multiply that by 15 more years with what I expect to drive Ruby and Jules. I plan to be, I plan to make it till at least 95, and I expect Jules to be taking me to my doctor's appointment.
But you'll be behind the wheel still, letting her drive you probably. But you'll be in the.
I don't want her to go out and get totaled.
Right.
Next year. It's one thing if I total her, but it's another thing if she totals herself because she can't make left turns.
Yeah, that level of trust is going to be.
Well, do you let your teenager drive your Tesla? Come on now. Are you really letting
I'm willing to let one of them drive Jules.
Yeah.
Because Jules is replaceable. We go place an order and have one in a month. I guess technically Ruby is now that the Model X Plaid. For a while there you couldn't get a Model X. And there was I was scared to death something was going to happen to Ruby. And we had, poor Andy had that happen to him. And it was painful for him that he was out of his X for a while. No fault of his own whatsoever. And he couldn't get back in one for like a year.
Financial pain.
Right. Because we hear all the time these stories that they don't know what to do about how to account for full self-driving and these other things when or free supercharging, that the insurance companies don't think it's worth anything. And you could argue with Ruby the amount of money we've saved on free supercharging is pretty low. But there's no way to attribute it to the amount of potential future savings if we start making more trips. So, anyway, and it's just, you've got it. It's a sense of security, maybe more than a financial wonderful thing, depending on how many supercharging miles you actually need.
Right.
But yeah, so.
Well, all that is the same. Yes. Look, we paid a lot of money for Ruby. We bought it early on before so we're early adopters. So they gave us this nice little perk. And I'm just saying the fastest way we can lose all of the rewards that we got for being early adopters is send Ruby out.
Okay. Don't scare me anymore about something. Every day I get in, I worry about something happening to Ruby. And so let's just not go there. Don would not want to have to deal with me if something happened to Ruby. It wouldn't be.
I'm just saying is the chances of us sending Ruby out is like nil or none.
Yeah. I don't think there's a time in Ruby's history with us that we've really considered trading her in. Not strongly considered.
Oh, right.
We dabbled once or twice, and I just wanted to say that the current $3,000 toward trade-in and 3 years free supercharging, that is not even close to getting us to move toward trading her in.
Right.
We'll put full self-driving on the new X, and we'll give you free lifetime supercharging back. Or maybe we'll give you 3 years of free supercharging. But the full self-driving is real. You got to do the math on the free supercharging. Again, how many supercharging trip miles you actually make. You know, Andy's driven cross-country 2-3 times now down to Florida and back a couple of times. You know, for him, he might be on the road enough and for business that it matters. But the amount that we've supercharged Ruby, if we went back, we could do that with Tesla Fi to see what that would have cost us even at 35 cents a kilowatt hour, and it's just not going to come up more than $1,500. So it's not when it sounds security. You think security. It sounds great. I mean, if supercharger prices went up to $1 a kilowatt hour, we would be singing for joy that we still had free supercharging. But at the current price, even that is doubled what it was originally, it's not that much. But the FSD, in order to get us to budge, it would take a catastrophe, or it would take him offering FSD on a new car. And even then, I'd have to think twice about giving up my Chrome and a few of the other things, my vertical screen, which I still prefer. And I hear the doors still open better on Ruby, and the driver instrument cluster is a little nicer on Ruby. So, I mean, I'd really... Even then, I wouldn't be like, come on, Donnie, let's trade her. Let's trade her. It'd be like, I don't know. I would be like dipping the toe into that cold water and thinking about it and probably deciding not to jump in.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you were going to mention something else about the...
I Googled real quick the high-res, Tesla high-res radar. And the people are assuming as part of the articles that I found implied or assume that the radar, high-res radar, is part of version 4. But version 4, they're assuming that. Elon did not say that. And so version 4, of course, is going to be on the Cybertruck first. It could be on the Semi. We don't know. I'm just saying there is no technical... The FCC, nobody went out into the FCC and found these drawings or anything. Nobody's published anything on it because I searched also with the word FCC. So we still don't know anything. As far as I know, nobody has broke anything new about the high-res radar.
Yeah. And one last point I was going to make, and these are all three on topic but not tightly coupled, is that... for version 4 and version 5, whatever that means, hardware, software, whatever that new chip, whatever that ends up being, I would really prefer if Tesla would make design decisions on what's finally going to get us to the best FSD modern technology and thought can get, not the technology that we still have to support everything prior to version 4 or 5. It was like when we worked at IBM on Infoman, sometimes we would have to make design decisions to carry the legacy crap forward. And it wasn't the best design then because we had to not throw off. A lot of pain and suffering. We had to go through all kinds of gyrations to keep the current and previous customers upward compatible, or can't go backwards, but you can go forward, and it caused us to not make good design decisions sometimes. So when I say that I care as a stockholder, I also care as a developer that Tesla would just take all the lessons from version 3 but ignore the thought of having to migrate those version 3 cars forward, because I want version 4 to be right. Or version 5, I want to plan for version 5 to be right. I want an end to this FSD thing, and I don't want the prior stuff weighing the developers down.
Right. Well, you don't have to worry about that. He's proven time and time again when Ruby doesn't get updates that he has no problems blowing away older cars.
I think I'm going to start tweeting him once a week on I want the blind spot cameras. This is an FSD beta car. This is a safety thing, not some game. I paid for FSD. I want the freaking blind spot cameras when I put on the turn signal. Every time I drive Jules and go back to Ruby, I have become dependent on that popping up. I have retrained myself in all the places I need to look. It's the driver. In Ruby, it's, you know, right or left mirror, driver instrument cluster for a red car, rear view mirror. You know, I mean, I've trained myself to add in the driver instrument cluster. And then on Jules, of course, the red car and or the blind spot thing's all in the same place. But I need that. There are a couple of times merging when I want to go right to downtown on Wilmington Street. I really, at that 70, there's 5 lanes of traffic, and everybody and their brother is either trying to go 5 lanes to the left or 5 lanes to the right. And I just need right 1 lane and not hitting one of these idiots that thinks changing 5 lanes in one full swoop is an okay maneuver. Because it's not. My driver's ed teacher told me that's not okay, and I don't do that. 1 lane at a time, people. Maybe, I mean, that's just, yeah. I mean, I witnessed so many near misses down there. I wait for them to all, I stay my 30-mile-an-hour consistent speed through there, and I wait for all of the idiots to go left and right. And when they're all done making their half-brained maneuvers, then I signal and I go over to the right. And if I miss it, I've got a street I can turn right on. It takes 2 extra minutes worth of stoplights, but I don't have to. But anyway, I could see better. I could be safer there. Elon, you're not allowing me to be as safe in Ruby as I could be if you would show me the darn camera. And I know it's not technologically impossible with my hardware, so by gosh, put it on there and put it on there now, Elon.
Well, he said time and time and time again, #1 goal of Tesla, safety.
Well, the last time, first off, no, but I don't have enough people following me on Twitter, so I don't care if you follow Don because he's got some funky stuff out on Twitter, but follow TeslaModelXJourney. Well, and the next time I tweet about it, please go out and retweet it, because nobody pays any attention to me, and this kind of matters. It's not some fickle, like I want a nice little, I don't need a Tesla passport for all of my supercharger stops. Although that would have been really fun and better than some of these games in the car, if you ask me. And I'm a game person, so that's saying something. But anyway, yeah, I'm in a ranting mood this week. Yeah, well, I'm in a rant. I am fired up, baby.
Well, I would say is that I think that because of his Tesla wants to be safe, and that he says that all Teslas come with all the
safety features,
all the safety enhancements out of the box.
Yes.
You know, even if you don't have FSD, I don't see how, with those kinds of statements, how he can say, "Oh, well, we're not going to do the camera, the side cameras for the turn signals on the X's and the S's because they're too old."
Right. I'm even okay if they like bunch up 2 or 3 things they need to do with the vertical screen and they circle back around to it.
Yeah. That's
okay, fine. That's fine. Just it's time to have made the circle.
You don't have to do them first. That's right.
Andy Sturkowitz. That's the YouTube channel I mentioned this morning when I was talking about ChatGPT, and somebody that is an advocate of people learning to code and had talked about ChatGPT, not to cheat, but, you know, to help you grow. And he mentioned, you know, definitely you got to bleed on some stuff where you don't learn, but when you've bled for a couple hours, you know, ChatGPT might get you out of the hole you've dug yourself into. So anyway, I think this guy's good. 2 comments about Amazon. You can just nod your head here. Number 1, Don and I both seem to have had our delivery day switched to Friday without them asking us. It was Thursday, but it keeps on saying, and your delivery day is Friday and stuff's coming Friday.
Yeah.
I don't use delivery day much. Don does, but I don't. I want my stuff when I want it. But Don has sort of trained me. I swear we each made $30 or $35 in digital credits.
Oh, yeah.
On over the holidays, saying you could, you know, I don't need that Christmas present before December 20th. I'll risk Don's present over $1.50 to $3 of delaying it a few days. And everything comes early anyway. Just a hint if you're scared to try it. For us, our experience is it comes early.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is a few times lately, instead of giving us that lucrative digital credit, because that's how we bought the 3 Back to the Future movies.
Yeah.
As I just spent the $20 or whatever it was and used my digital credit to, because normally we wouldn't do that. And we really did enjoy them, and I think we'll watch them every 2 or 3 years and have them in our library. So
they were good.
Yeah, they were good. Or we, you know, it's something we will watch again. But the other thing is I've seen them offering me 6% back on my Prime Amazon card instead of a digital credit now.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
haven't seen
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I did get my, well, it's both a good thing and a bad thing, but I did get my statement from Amazon about how many points I earned and the monetary value of that a day or two ago, and I won't be sharing that with Dawn. It's both a good and a bad number, right? You have to spend the money to get the money, but I buy a lot of stuff at Whole Foods and on Amazon.
That's
So
right.
the fact that it's high is,
Yes, right.
it was pretty, it'll keep us shopping at Amazon, let's just say that. But anyway, Amazon sneaking in a few changes there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn said, I'm having a delivery of something today, but what day is it coming on, or how is this working? And that made me think about these other things I thought I'd mention.
Yep.
Yeah. There it is. It's put together. I got 2 light gray pieces that are supposed to be the dark gray. This is the difference between a flat front 6x6 wedge and a rounded front 6x6 wedge. And I got lots of rounded, but not flat. The other wedge is an 8x8 flat front. So I guess wedge problems are the, story of my life with this particular build. But it'll be easy to swap that. And this book 5, this... actually, it's book 6. This roof topper is built. This is, when I get this part, this is a 5-minute swap. So I'm glad I built it. It's all good. I'm headed to meet Michelle, and as you can see, it's still raining out here. It kind of stopped one time around 9:35, and I told Donna, I said we just don't have enough time to go walk, and just as well, because it was only stopped for like 10 minutes and then it started back up again. Ruby says it's 38 out here. I left her outside, so I have autopilot. The windshield is stabilized as far as the temperature and the condensation goes now. I told Don about it, and he's like, but it was a valid message, right? I said, yeah, pretty sure it was a valid message, not something wrong with the autopilot camera. And I still believe that, by the way. I hear the train. I have seen a little bit of increased activity since it's not just Norfolk and Southern anymore, but this R.J. Corman company doing a run between Raleigh and Fayetteville now with a hub here in Fuquay. It's been a little more activity. I have to say that the size of the trains we get through town, it's never more than a 3 to 5 minute wait at the most. It's really not too inconvenient. There's only 2 places in town where it blocks the traffic light. So, not a big deal. If it's a cost-effective way to move freight, keep trucks off the road, we should use the existing railroad track is what I'm thinking. I realize it's a diesel engine, but still. It may not always be. Yeah, Michelle says she's on her way. Well, on her way 10 minutes ago, but that she had to stop for gas. I'm like, really? What? Stop for gas? What's that? I don't know what that is. It's 38 and raining. I don't want to be stopping for gas. Poor girl. Michelle just pulled in. I have all the stuff I've accumulated for her over the last couple of weeks in my frunk. Hopefully we can remember that on the way out. Oh my God, look at the Ewok. Oh. And here's a couple of minifigures. Marvel stuff. Eternal. Yeah, Marvel. He's a bobblehead. Connor needs him. Take it to Connor. Oh wow, she's sporting another new lounge fly. Oh, and you haven't like an astronaut kitty. Forgive me for getting distracted by the hand sanitizer, but oh, that's really cool. What else does she have? Michelle's always styling here. Let me help wipe it off a little bit. It's not wet. So cute. Halloween stuff. That's pretty cool. I can't justify it, but I like it.
I like the pot.
Yeah, you got to get it when it's here. Halloween or not. So instead of a cat coffee shop, does somebody maybe have a dog coffee shop? A cat cafe? You've heard of cat cafes,
Yes,
right?
I
want to go. I want to go to one. I've not been one.
Well, I'm ready.
Okay, I think there's one in Greensboro. I don't know about Raleigh.
I think so. I think there is one around
We should
here.
do that sometime. What is this thing that I have with really cool looking Victorian houses that I want to recreate in Lego pieces or go live in? This is where all of the wedding table place centerpieces end up. Michelle, I got the one I want, but I think you're going to want a couple of these. This is a vintage exercise piece of equipment. Look at the fancy little, I swear the kitchen floor in New Jersey looked like that. They're asking $90 for it. I would be in so much trouble if I took that home with Don. Don did so good for like 3 months. He would carefully arrange the stuffies back on the bed every morning with love and care. And now he's like, okay, they're in the middle of the bed. You can put them how you want them. Not mean, just tired.
I think he needs
yeah, I can't take him home. I can't. Michelle, you need these loofah pads on a stick. In with the silk flowers. It's a silk flower thing. Do I get best friend ever for finding that for you?
Yes.
Yeah, it's way cool. I haven't seen it before either anywhere. That is so cool. Connor, I saw it. I wondered. I said, I don't think so. What's my quirk? Half cold, half warm. Now, who is it?
I think it's from My Hero Academia.
Okay.
He's, half cold and half hot.
Oh, okay. Well, if I were going to have a lesson plan, that's the kind I would want. Coffee. Cart was pretty full. It gets to the point at the end where I can't find the camera anymore to even shoot anything, although they did finally turn down the country music. Thank God, it was driving me nuts. I mean, it was really too loud. I don't care what kind of music it was. I can like it or not like it when it's low, but it was.
It was so loud, and
but we got
my nose was gonna bleed.
We got so much cool stuff today.
Yeah.
We did.
It
Cool.
It.
It was. We made Michelle and I made up for lost time.
Yes.
It's going on 7 o'clock and I'm taking Johnny to Taekwondo. I've been in the house sleeping. No Legos, I've been sleeping. Me, Don, and Stripe. We're all piled up on the love seat for the last 90 minutes. Oh, here I am, Ruby. It is not nice. It's 43. It's raining. It's not nice out there tonight. Yeah, I fixed us some guacamole, a little cheese pepperoni snack, and I was gonna get up, and a few minutes later I was gonna get up again, and I guess I just really needed the nap. Well, I've got Johnny and we're headed back to the house, and I was on the Triangle Tesla virtual meetup call. Every other Thursday we hold that. It's great if you're a new owner with questions or an existing owner and just like to hang out with other Tesla people. And our light is out again that Don pays for. This is like the 3rd time it's gone out now, so I guess we'll need to call. It's supposed to be an LED at this point, so please explain to me why it's out again.